Hello, my name is Allan Gunnells. I am a small press horror writer who has been publishing for a little over 10 years. I am doing a brief reading from my Valhalla Books novel, To Be, just a little taste to hopefully whet your appetite. Just to give you a little bit of backstory to what I'm about to read, the main character, Berkeley, his deranged ex, tried to kill him and then killed himself in Berkeley's apartment, and Berkeley now believes that his ex is haunting the apartment, so he has enlisted the help of a medium to try to find a solution to this problem. When Berkeley opened the door, he found a stranger waiting. Surely the medium, though not at all what Berkeley had been expecting. He couldn't say exactly what he had been expecting, but this wasn't it. For one, the guy was young. From his appearance, Berkeley would guess fresh out of high school. He was dressed casually in jeans and a Susie and the Banshees tee. His nails were painted black and his matching hair done up in a high pompadour style. He seemed the quintessential too cool for school type. Yet the most bizarre thing about him was what he carried with him, a tall, thin mirror, the kind someone might hang on the back of a closet door. "Dillard?" Berkeley said skeptically. The young man smiled. "In the corporeal flesh. You can call me Tangina." "What?" "Sorry, just a little occupational humor. Can I come in?" Bemused, Berkeley stepped aside and allowed Dillard to enter. The young man leaned the mirror against the wall just inside the door, then began to mill about the apartment, nodding and mumbling to himself. When the circuit brought him back around to the bathroom, he reached in and flipped on the light. "Product of your mischievous phantom?" Dillard asked. Berkeley walked over to find the bathroom floor once again wet. With a weary dip of his chin, he nodded. Dillard began walking around the apartment again, this time stopping in the very center with his hands on his hips. The air in here is heavy, man, like the heaviest I've ever felt. It's like trying to walk underwater." Berkeley leaned against the bathroom door jamb, starting to fear tonight was going to be a bust. This young man, whose youthful confidence seemed almost unnatural, carrying around his own full-sized mirror as if he couldn't stand to not look at himself when on the go. Berkeley found it hard to believe Dillard would be able to help him. "So," Berkeley said, just to make conversation, "Zane tells me that you believe true hauntings are rare." "Most definitely. Despite what the movies would have you think, when a spirit departs a body, it doesn't hang around. It moves on to the next plane, eager for the next leg of the journey." "Next plane?" Berkeley repeated. "You mean heaven?" Dillard shrugged. "I don't know much about what comes after. That isn't for the living to know. Call it what you will, be it heaven or paradise or the Elysian fields. It's where spirits go when they've shed the mortal trappings of flesh. When I do my work, I have to actually call them back to this plane, which takes some effort, because wherever they aren't here." "So all the stories you hear about haunted houses and such are made up?" "Not all. There are a few instances of spirits getting stuck here on this plane after death, although most legit cases are poltergeist activity." "Poltergeist," Berkeley said softly, "like that movie." "Oh, Tangina. Now I get it." "Good flick, original anyway," Dillard said. "But it gets the concept of the poltergeist all wrong. A poltergeist isn't a haunting at all. It is the result of latent telekinetic abilities. Some living person is causing all the events unconsciously, totally unaware, and attributes it to a spirit." "So you think I'm causing all this with my mind or something?" "Doubtful. Most poltergeist incidents involve adolescence, because that is a time of life when hormones are raging, combined with physiological changes which lead to a kind of stress that makes them feel helpless and not in control of their own bodies. It's that precise mix of ingredients that make the situation ripe for poltergeist activity." Berkeley found himself reevaluating his initial opinion of Dillard. The young man certainly seemed to know what he was talking about, and his confidence was actually inspiring and infectious. "Besides," Dillard said, "I can feel the presence of an energy in this place that isn't yours or mine." Rare as it is, you've got yourself a genuine haunting, my friend. It felt perverse, but hearing Dillard say that actually triggered a relief response. Sort of like a diagnosis of cancer can seem like a blessing after months of not knowing what was wrong with you. Once the exact problem had been identified, then a treatment plan could be put into place. How did you get into this kind of work? Berkeley asked. I wouldn't call it work exactly. I don't get paid for it. It's just a natural talent. A gift, some might say. Discovered I had the ability when I was 10. My grandmother had passed away, and my mother's grief was all-consuming. I remember one night I was in the bathroom, standing on my little stool and brushing my teeth at the sink, wishing that my mother could talk to my grandmother at least one more time. Then I felt kind of faint and passed out. When I came back to myself, I was still standing on the stool, but my mother was in the room, sitting on the edge of the tub and crying. She said she walked into the bathroom to see what was taking me so long and saw me standing in front of the mirror, except the reflection wasn't me, but my grandmother. When I started to talk to her, it wasn't my voice she heard, but my grandmother's. They talked. My grandmother assured her she was safe and warm and happy, brought a lot of peace to my mother. Berkeley glanced at the mirror resting beside the door, thinking he was beginning to understand its significance and purpose. Do you think you'll be able to get Kevin to talk to me? I've never failed to call a spirit, Dillard said with more of that casual, easy confidence. Where do we start? Here. No time like the present. Again, just a brief reading from 2B. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.